Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Thriving LDS Singles Podcast. This is Kay here, and we have Kim, my co-host, and today we are talking to Mary Stevens. She's a realtor in Arizona, or in Australia, as we say, a real estate agent. And she's also a thriving LDS single. And we're really excited to hear her story. So, Mary, tell us a bit about yourself.
I have been single now for about, it's 12 years now. And I have had several serious relationships in the midst of this that didn't work out. And that's okay. It was not meant to be. Yeah. And so been single that long and have family. I have kids, grandkids. So I stay very active between work, my church callings, and just my family life. So that keeps me going, and I love all of it. My work, my family, and my job, and my callings.
Yeah.
Everything.
Mary actually was my very first introduction to Arizona. She helped me find the place to rent when I had no idea what the area was or what was. She probably remembers. I was totally clueless, and she helped me narrow it down to a few places to go see, found me a place to rent. And then just 2 or 3 months later, I fell in love with the area and bought my own condo, and she helped me with that. And so she is amazing at what she does. And I know she's extremely busy because I've wanted to have her on for a really long time, and it's been hard to get her time and get her scheduled. So I'm excited that she's here.
And just by the way, you are a blessing to be here. Arizona's blessed to have her here. I just want everybody to know that.
You're sweet. I love it here. I really love it. It's my home for sure. So, and one of the reasons that I was so excited to have Mary on is because of your calling and kind of how your calling came about. So tell us what your callings in church are, and a little bit more about how they came about, and we'll just ask you questions as we go.
Well, gosh, okay. I have several callings, and one is I'm activity day. I'm over the activity day girls. Love that because I get to work with our youth. My biggest callings are I am over the stake, along with Terriel and Henniger, but over the stake singles, and run that program and started that from scratch. We had absolutely nothing going on, and really just a slight vision from our stake presidency as to what they would even like, but they didn't even know where to go with it. And I'm also on the regional council over our region and represent our stake for the region. So I'm actually on a regional level as well. And how it came about, gosh, initially our stake president wasn't a stake president at the time, and it was during COVID, or maybe we were just starting to get out of COVID. And he approached me and said, I think the singles are lost. Everybody has been stagnant. No one has done anything. And we're trying to get together a council to be able to brainstorm what we can do for the singles that have been so isolated over the last couple of years. And then I never heard anything again for quite a while. And I even approached him, and there was me and another gentleman that he wanted to be in this. So we had not been officially called yet, set apart. And he approached us later and said, yeah, they're still working on it, trying to get it together. And it just didn't happen. And I admit I was disappointed because I thought, boy, it has been a long stretch with COVID. There's a lot of things that people are struggling with, depression and just feeling isolated and needing to get out again. And where do we go for this? And I know in our stake, especially, there was nothing going on. So I was kind of disappointed, didn't hear anything for quite a while. Now he becomes stake president and meets with President Lithgow's over the region, and it's over in Arizona. And they decide that they need to really start working on our singles and reactivating and making our singles feel like there's a place to go and there's something to do, and that they're remembered more than anything. And that was something that I was passionate about when he mentioned it to me, because being single, it's not like I was lonely or anything. I mean, I still had my family, and my work was really busy during COVID. So it's not like I was sitting at home, and locked up and had nowhere to go. But I knew enough people that felt that. Friends of mine and different people that I ran across, and they just were just feeling a little bit lost, where, just with everything that had gone on. And so when he called me to this, they didn't really know how to get it going, and said, we just need to start getting out there and planning some things. And he called another gal to help me. And she's more the behind the scenes, technical, get everything out on Facebook, make sure everybody knows what's going on. I'm more, get me away from that. I'm more face to face. Get me in front of the people. Let me get talking to people. Let me figure out what we can do to make this happen. And if somebody tells me no per se, but if I ask and I don't get anything, I will just take it upon myself.
You're a take charge kind of person.
I'm like, I am not going to just sit here and wait for 6 months for somebody to get back to me. So I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it would feel like that. So we needed a committee. It's like, how do we reach out? How do we let everybody in the stake know what we're doing? It's like, well, we need ward representation. And we were getting one here, one there. So finally I said, that's it. And if I went to our high council, who happens to be single as well, and he's with me on the regional council. But if I went to him, which was technically the right way to do things, then he would go to the state presidency. I would just be bugging him saying, did they say what we can do? Did they give us some, So finally I'm like, or some names. So finally I'm like, forget it. So I'm like calling every Relief Society president in the stake. I'm calling every Elders Quorum president in the stake and saying, give me names of people that you feel would be wonderful for this job. And then I have to follow that with the mission, because it just seemed that if I said, I want somebody to represent the singles in there, they automatically in their brain think dating. This is all about dating. And singles are all ages, and we're 31 up, right? So it could be younger, or they could be 80, 85. And even if they're widowed or widower, never married, divorced, younger with a bunch of kids, or maybe they have 1,000 grandkids, they're all singles.
Yeah.
But when you say that to someone that was happily married, still wears the wedding ring, but their spouse has been deceased for some time, they automatically assume we're trying to set them up, or it's a dating thing, and they're like, I am attached. As far as they're concerned, they're still married. They're not single. So our vision, along with the state presidency, was if people want to date, we have plenty of places that we can send you to meet people for that purpose.
There's apps, there's
apps, there's all kinds of activities where that could be possible.
Right.
And plenty of apps out there to make that happen. But the goal, of course, in the end, if somebody is looking for companionship and wants to meet somebody, that's wonderful, because I think many are. We can help them with that. But more than anything, it's just letting them know they're not forgotten, that we're all friends and we're all brothers and sisters. And we all sometimes just need to know that we have a friend we can go out to dinner with, that we have someone maybe to go to a movie with, or just visit with.
Yeah.
At an activity with, correct, without the pressures of dating, but more, we just want to gather Israel, bring us all to Christ, right? That's what we're trying to do. And let everyone know that I don't care what your circumstance is. I mean, I care, but I don't when it comes to come with us, to come join us.
There's not
Because-
judgment about it, good or bad.
Right. Let's all meet and become friends. Now, anything can happen from there, right? Absolutely. You might find somebody that you attach with and maybe start dating, but it's not the end goal. The end goal is to just to have all of us have some friendship,
Right.
have someone that we
Build a
can do something with.
community, a source
Do
of
not feel
community.
like we're alone, and
Yeah.
especially to not feel forgotten. And that's probably the biggest thing. And I'm going to bring up an analogy really quick that was brought up to me that kind of expresses what I'm saying. We have all played hide and seek when we were kids, right? And what is the goal of hide and seek? Be the best hider. We don't want to get caught, right? We don't want to be found.
Right.
Because if you can hide really well, you're the coolest, right? And so you get playing a game, the group's out hiding. Everybody now you're maybe in the closet, in the laundry basket, under the clothes, right? And you're hiding. And they have looked, they have searched, they cannot find you. Everybody's running around now trying to help them find you. They can't find you. So what typically happens? They're like, okay, I don't know where they are. And they might call for you to come out, but you want them to find you. So you just kind of sit there. And then they're like, okay, well, let's play again. Who got caught? Okay, start counting. We're going to go hide. You're still sitting in the laundry basket going, wait, aren't you going to try to find me? I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to be forgotten. We love to sometimes take a step back. And there are going to be times when maybe because of circumstances in our lives, we don't want to be found at that moment. Or maybe, we're taking a step back.
Isolate ourselves.
Just kind of isolate ourselves. But in the end, do we really want to stay isolated? We might for a moment, but we want people to know that we're here, right? We don't want to be forgotten.
Right.
And we want people, and it's nice to know somebody cares about us. Even if we're not ready yet to go out and do things, we want people to know that we're cared about. So that is our goal. That is the best way to describe it. And let people know that they're loved and that they're cared about, that our Heavenly Father loves them. We love them. We would love to get to know them, and let's all hang out together. And hopefully it brings all of us closer to Christ by doing so. And our companionships, but no pressure. Let's at least get together and let's make friends and have fun.
Yeah.
Right. And if something else happens from it, fantastic. So that is the mission, and that's what I'm doing. So when I went to them, I dug high and low, went to everybody, got my names, went over heads till I got the callings done that I needed called. And now we have representation in every ward. And their goal is to go out and help me in that ward, find those that need it. And then we'll try and provide those activities as well, or firesides or activities, to be able to help people to feel like they have something to come and do. You may come to one and you may not come to another. That's okay.
Right. Which is, by the way, really rare, because the stake that I'm in, I don't know of any singles representative or somebody representing.
Which stake are you in?
Camelback stake. We should.
I just met him last night.
Did you?
So
Did you meet
he didn't know what to do. And he sat in that room with us last night at a meeting, a regional meeting, and heard us talk about what we do and said, oh my gosh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to do that. Could you send us these notes so we can start to do this? And I guess there's an elite singles in your stake.
Yeah.
Which I had never heard of before. So we kind of laughed about that.
That either. Certainly, I am not a part of the elite singles in our stake.
It's supposedly, I think, 45 and up.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because there's another stake with some stake singles in Tempe. There's another stake that has a singles program for the 31 up. So anyway, I did get to meet your representative last night. So you do have one, but he had no clue what to do. So you would be awesome to help him.
Well, we'll have to talk after. You can tell me who he is, and I can reach out.
I'm the same, Mary. I was called to, I was the stake single adult rep for the last couple of years, and called to a calling I didn't even know existed and was in a new stake. So I was completely and utterly lost. Luckily, I met a few people who had been in similar callings or, keen. And so we actually got the stake really moving. Then I've moved and the other stake, the male stake rep, got married and the whole thing just has fallen to bits again. But I wish I had run into you at the beginning of that, because it is a calling where you go, whoa, what do I do now? And there are so many singles with so many different needs that, and not everybody, a lot of a lot of different people in callings felt like, oh, well, they're just members of the ward. They don't need anything special.
Yeah.
And you know what's sad? And thank you for sharing that. Because what is sad is singles now represent more of our membership than married.
Yeah.
There is one person in Phoenix North Stake, but one of the stakes that's on our regional committee, 80% of the ward is single. I can't even believe, or stake is single. Wow. I couldn't believe that. Word about, I've heard the numbers change. We're still trying to figure it out. One person said a quarter, and then some person said a third of our stake. But that's a huge number. And so we need to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to help everybody. And like you said, their circumstances are so diverse. I mean, you have some that their needs are so different.
Yeah.
So we just try our best to let them know we're here and provide things for them to do. We reach out to the missionaries too, to say, if you run across somebody that you think that we could help, come tell me. I'll go out on missionary. I'll go out with the missionaries. We also have stake single missionaries that are older couple. We have to find them.
That's what I was just going to say. Getting back to your analogy of we've got to find them in the laundry basket with all the clothes covering them.
Right. They're super cool. They have hidden forever, and it's been amazing. But now it's like there comes a point when it's like, I am here, right? And I think all of us, at one point or another in our life, even if we've taken a step back, want somebody to know we're here. And we want to know that somebody actually cares about us.
Yeah.
Not as a number to get them to go to church, but as a human being. Yeah. Right? And we do have different needs sometimes. And that's my goal, is to just go out and help as many people know that we love you and we want you. We want to be friends. If you want to come to church, fantastic. If you don't, maybe come to an activity and at least, or dinner or something, and we can all visit and have fun and make it very low key. No pressure, but just join us.
Yeah.
Somehow. Yeah.
So you have representatives in every ward for your committee?
We have, most of them have two, because that's what you really are supposed to do. There's one that has one right now. And we have a very active stake presidency that knows that I don't take no for an answer. I attend stake council. I attend ward councils. We encourage our, with the approval, obviously, of the bishops, that our reps attend, one rep attend a ward council as well. So they know if we are not there, it's just like we blend in. They don't really recognize us as, like, we should be represented on that ward council, just like Relief Society, young men, young women, elders quorum, whatever, the different auxiliaries, singles. That is an auxiliary.
Yeah, I think
and
that's
what we have to say is just as important.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool thing that probably isn't very typical also.
No, it's not.
Are in that.
As we're dealing with
ward councils.
Right, because when we're dealing with regional, we have members coming that are trying hard to work on their stakes that have had pushback on that. And so we had to write something up and explain and go to the manual and explain the benefits. Even I had to go to our stake presidency and explain the benefits of having them in ward council. I was in there. They put me in right away. Probably because I was a stake level too, but
And they knew you weren't going to leave them alone.
That's 8 other words needed. Oh, come on. I'm attending one word. We need more than that. So I had to go and say, listen, this is why we need it. Because this way, there is a representative in there that can also talk about our needs, just like they can with Relief Society, any of the other auxiliaries.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way we're going to get our needs met. That's the way we're going to find more people. There needs to be a bigger emphasis on our single community. And which has sadly, and I don't think it was intentional, but just as, well, I know it wasn't intentional, but we have never been front and center. And when we represent a majority of the church, we need to be doing something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've talked a number of times on this podcast about the singles feeling like they don't really belong. They're not really part of the church, that, no one sort of, when you have a Relief Society lesson and they'll talk all about how good marriage is, and it's sort of like, and you look around the audience and more than 50% of the audience isn't married, and you're going, who are they talking to? Who are they teaching?
And you're so right. And one way I really learned that too is when we got the council, finally got all the members of our council called. At our first state council meeting, we sat around and had somebody share, tell us about yourself. You don't have to say anything too much if you don't want to, but how long have you been single? Where'd you come from? Just a little bit about yourself, so the group of us could get to know each other. Before you knew it, every one of those people were telling you how long they'd been divorced, what they went through. And you look around the room thinking, oh my gosh, there's been a lot of people that have been through a lot of stuff. And so I can completely understand why when they're sitting in a Relief Society lesson and all that is discussed is the wonderful things about being married, when you've got a lot of single people in there who have gone through some pretty tragic things, and their circumstances are nothing like what they're sharing up there. They would love to have a marriage like that, but they did not have a marriage like that. And they don't know and some don't know what that's like. And one thing I appreciate about our word, and I think it's because we are a small word. I joke around that we're in the missionary belt up here in Scottsdale because majority of the people here are, I would say, Jewish and Catholic, amongst other religions. We are the minority by far. Or if you go to other areas, you can be more of a majority.
Yeah, like Mesa or Gilbert or.
Correct. Or
Right.
even, so like places like that, there's so many members, which is great. But some of them, everybody's different. You come into our Relief Society and boy, you get all walks of life. And I appreciate the fact that many of them will openly share.
Yeah.
In Relief Society, their circumstances, we appreciate this lesson. What about some of us that have not been through that? And I know there aren't people that feel comfortable enough sharing it. I think it's because ours is a little more diverse that way. People in different circumstances and different walks of life and smaller ward. But it is true. It is true. And we need to be very aware that people around us, a lot of the people around us do not live fairy tale lives or have not been there, especially in the singles organization. They have had some from pretty, including myself.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty serious trials.
Yeah.
And we just need to let everybody know that I think what made me feel good during this council meeting is that everyone in the room looked at each other like, I'm not alone.
Yeah. Well,
It's not that you don't wish bad about anybody, but you're glad to know these guys probably get it.
Yeah.
All these people in the room.
Not only are you not alone, but you're pretty amazing for being as resilient and as faithful as you are after all the trials that we all went through.
Right. And I just appreciate some sisters are a little more active than others in their stake calling, but I just appreciate them being there. I appreciate them willing to try, willing to come to a meeting and willing to do whatever they can to try and help us, even when sometimes it's harder for some than it is for others. Some are a little shyer, not like me.
I am on the shy side. I go to the fireside and leave before the socializing.
Oh, but anyway, so, that is our goal. And I really feel in the times that we're living in right now that we always hear it's important to gather Israel. Well, guess what? We carry a majority of Israel in the singles group, and we need to do whatever we can to help those around us, right? And I think the first way to do it is companionship, love, and caring. They don't need to hear the preaching. That can always come later. And I think more than that, it's example. Lead by example, be loving, be kind, and try and encourage people to come out to where they don't feel like they can't.
Mm-hmm. And
let the Spirit also take hold after that. I think if people are doing what they need to be doing, let them feel the Spirit and let them want to make, and not forget them. Keep continuing to ask them to come out. Be their friend. They need to know we've got companionship and friendship, and it doesn't have to be dating and marriage. But you know what? Mm-hmm. It can happen from there. Yeah. But we have to at least get us out. And know that we're all out in here. We're all out doing this together. Yeah. Let's help each other. Let's help each other through it.
Yeah.
So, Mary, can you tell us some of the activities that you've planned on the stake level and the ward level? So what are some of the things you do?
Like this Friday, we have a pickleball night at our stake center, and then a little potluck, and also game tables. So people can just come, and if they don't want to play pickleball, they don't have to. They can just sit and play games and visit, and or play some pickleball. We have firesides every other month. We have one coming up May 19th. This gal, Max, spoke at the regional, there was a conference in Gilbert, Queen Creek, Gilbert area not long ago. She spoke there, and a lot of people loved her and said they would love to hear her more at a fireside. So she is coming to speak. We've got some really cool speakers coming up. We have one in May, July, September, November, and we plan activities every time in the middle. So we used to do hikes, but it was getting a little warm. We're not sure if we're going to pick that up right now already, but we would do a hike once a month, and whoever wanted to come for the hike can come for the hike. So there's different things that we try to do. So,
and you invite more than just your stake, typically, don't you?
We do. Like, we're considering this fireside a regional fireside. We are asking everybody that in the region to come. And technically, we get people from Queen Creek and Gilbert when they're here now and then coming. So we don't care where you live. We want anybody and everybody to come. We don't want to isolate it to our stake because that leaves the numbers smaller.
Yeah.
We want more people to come and meet. We're just doing it within our stake to reach out to others. And here we are saying this, and I do not have it in front of me. Darn it. Did you pick one up by any chance when you were at our fireside?
Yes, and I'm on the text.
I think it's 77222. Do you have that card there?
Yeah,
you have it there?
You're right.
And if people will get on there, it'll automatically attach you to anything that we have going on. So you don't always have to be on Facebook. Some people are quick to look at their phone more so than get on social media. I normally have a card in front of me. And
we can share it.
If you can share it. But what it does is it connects everybody. It connects people to different events going on. And it's all through the area.
You have a phone number, a text number that people can sort of become part of the text group, and that'll help information.
And the more people we get on there, the more that are going to find out. So we need to push that so everybody can learn about things that are going on and not just rely only on Facebook.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said that I think is really important, or maybe I'm feeling prompted to mention, is when, we talk about I love your analogy. I'm going to keep bringing it up about the hiding in the laundry basket. But there are those that are single, went through a really hard divorce and went a different way, maybe started down a path, getting involved with different groups, trying to find connection in other ways. And then they want to reconnect back to the LDS community. And I have heard some stories where the LDS kind of family oriented community, or the bishops, they're very judgmental, I guess I want to say, and not as welcoming in terms of bringing those people back to the community and engaging them in just their pure desire to want to reconnect. And I mean, that is part of what Gathering Israel is. And I've heard some really sad stories that way too, where they had him jumping through all kinds of hoops and being a little bit harsh about how do I get my way back into that community. And I feel like that's another group that we really need to send a lot of love and caring and mentorship and sponsorship to help them through those processes.
I do agree with you. And I've heard the same thing. I've heard people say that because there's a lot of family wards, and now there's not as many. Once you get to a certain age, there is no other wards.
Yeah.
It's not like not YSA, and you don't have other wards you can attend per se. It's harder to find that anyway, especially depending on where you live. And I have heard that, and it makes me sad. It makes me really sad. Why I'm grateful for the ward that I'm in, again, being more in a missionary belt. If people could walk in their jeans, we've seen them walking in their jeans, their cutoffs, smelling like smoke, tattoos all over themselves, and people will come up afterwards and say, "Where are you from?" We have one gentleman that we're doing missionary work with, who's not a member, that would definitely be judged for his appearance.
Yeah.
And he, and I was so pleased. I was just praying that when we finally went with the missionaries and we got him to come a couple times, I was just praying, please, everybody just come up and love on him and introduce yourselves and be kind. And they did. But I can tell you, I have been in wards even in the past that had that same person been in there, they would get looks all through church, all through sacrament meeting.
Yeah.
And we have to start somewhere, and it's got to start here, changing the mindset. And that's the reason we have these we have these conversations in our state council meeting, and we tell those that are going to their wards, they need to be in ward council. They need to be conveying this to the members there, and we need to have talks, I believe, over the pulpit, wherever it may be. And we need to start with ourselves. We need to start with the wards, and we need to train people that if we are to gather Israel, that means gather Israel. I don't care where they come from, what walk of life, where they chose to go.
Yeah.
They could have chose to go anywhere else. And if they walk in our building and they smell like cigarette smoke, welcome.
Yeah.
You could have gone anywhere else that day. You chose to walk in and listen to a sacrament meeting. So good for you. And they deserve, oh my gosh, they deserve a lot of love for that, because that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. And I think that that's got to start with us. It's got to start with our wards. And that's why it's so important that our presence within our wards, within our ward councils, within our stakes, because we need to change the minds of those that are out there. If we're going to properly gather Israel, what did our Savior do? Did he turn people away when they were touching his garments, or his robe, when he was walking? When everybody else was getting after Mary for touching his robe? Come on. Who are we to do that and to judge in any way?
Yeah.
The fact that they are even thinking about making a stop back in a church or talking to somebody and having the desire to come back, we need to just welcome them back with open arms and no judgment, because they could have gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And that needs to start with us, though. I'm telling you, it's got to start with us. It's got to start in our wards. And we need to have, I don't care if we need to go over the pulpit with it. We need to have talks about that.
Yeah. One other thing that was a question, you talked about sharing your mission and vision. Do you have any of that written down? Like, is it stuff if people want to know, gosh, I'd really like some direction in how I can do this better in my stake or my community? Is anything written down, or is it all in your head?
I'm laughing because I presented this at our regional, and there was a gal that I love her, Max, she's the one who's going to speak. at our fireside. She was put over and didn't know what to do either. And she pulled me aside because I'm just rattling it off in my head like I was doing now. And she's like, do you have any of this written down? No. So she made me kind of repeat it. And she's frantically writing down. And she said, do you mind if I put this in notes and start typing up? And I said, absolutely not. So we do have some notes of stuff written about the way to conduct it. And there's other things that are still in my head, but I need to add to that is what I need to do. But it's always just coming from here.
Yeah. Well, we would love to share whatever you have or whatever you're working on, because I'm sure there are others who would really benefit from getting the information.
I would love to. I would love to put it out there, and I would be happy as well if anybody wants to personally talk to me. I would love to be able to talk with anyone. I don't care. If it helps, it helps. I don't care, because we need this, right? We all need this. We all need it.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to help anybody who needs it. So I will try to gather notes. I will try to gather notes, but you are more than welcome as well to share my number.
Be careful what you say, because you might remember this is a worldwide podcast. So you've got, and
we have a lot of followers in Spain, and we were just looking at the United Kingdom, Australia. So,
well, I know maybe I will then. Maybe I should. But I would love to.
An email. We won't put a phone number. How's that?
That is fine. You give them my email, and I would be happy. But my point is, I'm happy to do whatever I need to do to help somebody. And if they really need to know where to start or how to get it going, I will help them in any way. I would not be doing my calling properly, and I would not be doing what I feel is kind of my mission since I got doing this if I don't, because we all need to be doing this. And if I can help in any way, that I want to be doing that. So I sincerely mean that, though, that I'm willing to help anybody that would like to do that.
Well, that's fantastic, because I know that when I was in that calling, I desperately needed help. I know our stake has literally called people just a week or two ago. And so we're going to be spreading this amongst especially the stake and ward single adult leaders. So let's hope that, the whole world starts to really notice and find all the singles. So thank you very much, Mary. We really appreciate you chatting
You're
with
welcome.
us
so
today.
Happy you made time for us.
I just want to again share that no matter where we are in the world, we are all brothers and sisters. All of us have gone through some horrific things, some worse than others.
Yeah.
But we all need to know that there are people here that love and care about us. We are not alone. We are not alone. And our Heavenly Father wants us to come back. He wants us to come back, however that may be, and know that He loves us, regardless of whatever walk or steps we've taken, regardless of where they put us. It's okay. There isn't any path that can't bring us back. They're not dead ends. So we can do this.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, thank you very much, Mary. We really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your enthusiasm for the singles. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kim, for being here today as well. And we'll talk to you all next week.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Mary. We'll get together.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.